Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here and welcome to my guide to the Broken Blade, the duel in the first zone of Zadnor. Keep in mind we are doing this the old-fashioned way of, well, fighting the boss. There's a strategy where you can delete a boss in under a minute over on Sphea's channel, if you have the right actions as Red Mage or Summoner, that is. If you want that quick, easy speed kill, I'll include a link to it in the description, but if you want a challenge, but also still kind of want to know what you're getting into, well, this video is for you. This duel is spawned by defeating 4th Legion Hexadrones anywhere in Zone 1 in Zadnor, and defeating the Skirmish another pilot episode. This spawns the critical engagement, a familiar face, and as long as you defeat Hashmal without being hit by any dodgeable AoEs or dying, you'll qualify to be selected for the duel. Only one person can be selected, and players with higher notoriety will have much higher priority for being selected. Players who accept the duels and do not get selected will gain 1 notoriety, but if you do get selected, you'll go back down to 0. For actions, there are technically no mandatory ones here, though it is highly advised that you bring either Lost Impetus or Swift if you are not confident in your reaction speed. Lost Excellence for non-tanks is also an option, or using a Paladin or Gunbreaker invuln. For essences, melee and range physical DPS should definitely use Beast Essence if they have it. With this you can spam Lost Assassination to upkeep a massive DPS buff, and it'll also help you self-sustain. Mages can also bring Beasts, but it would be purely defensive for them, so it's definitely more likely you're going to bring something like Ordained for Red Mage or Summoner, or Watcher for Black Mage. For healers, you can run Ether Weaver or Templar, but if you're willing to bring some potion kits, Profane is perfectly fine here as well. Also, Ordained is great if you want to combine it with Chain Spell, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. And as for tanks, they have quite a few options. Bloodsucker is an obvious one since it lets them self-sustain, gives them a boost of damage. Martialist, just a bit of damage increase, but you're going to start seeing the possibility of using Irregular if you actually have the proper setup for it. I would not recommend that for a first time. You really need to make sure you're being careful if you're using an Irregular Essence, because it's going to make you paper thin in terms of how likely you are to survive certain attacks, so please bear that in mind if you want to attempt using Irregular. Now for action recommendations, as a melee or range physical, I recommend Assassination plus either Banner of Noble Ends or Excellence. Machinists can start with Focus and Lost Slash for their very first GCD and then swap to the other things. They can even stick with Lost Slash if they want to use it with Reassemble on cooldown. As White Mage, I'd recommend running Ordained with Seraph Strike and Chain Spell. Other healers can bring the same thing if they bring Ether Kits. In fact, it's safe to bring Ether Kits regardless. Or you can swap out Seraph Strike with Banner of Noble Ends. Summoner or Red Mage, definitely bring Ordained with Chain Spell. It's just such a massive DPS boost. Black Mage can't use Ordained, but they can use Watcher, which gives Chain Spell a 100% uptime, allowing you to do any of your Fire 4s from anywhere on the arena without missing a beat. But make sure to bring Potion Kits regardless, because you won't have any sustain with either of these setups. Flare Star also works for any caster so long as you have Ether Kits as well. Tanks are a bit of a tougher one. Realistically, bringing and proccing Blood Rage right before your second reopener would be ideal, because that is such a massive damage boost. Because you don't have anything like Beast and Assassination, however, your remaining option is most likely to be Banner of Noble Ends. With whatever remaining space you have, bring Re-Razors, Potion Kits, Ether Kits, whatever space you have free, just make sure you fill it up. And also don't forget that you can bring multiples of the same action and then reuse them to instantly reset their cooldowns. That's why I was talking about like spamming Excellence as a tank. You can just bring like 2 of them and then make sure you actually, use them and then reuse them and you can go again. There's all sorts of weird setups you can do to really pump out damage even if you're not doing the super fast kill speed. Now finally, let's talk about the boss, Dabog. As soon as you pull, the edge of the arena will become death, so watch out for that. Dabog's first attack is Left Arm Slash. This is a conal AoE in front of the boss, so it's best to just quickly get to his flank or even just walk through the hitbox to get behind him. After this, Dabog will chain similar mechanics throughout the rest of the fight, with slight variations in each one of them, so you'll need to recognize the names of the skills and the time in the fight to make sure you don't screw them up. For this first one, Dabog will go to the center of the room and cast Right Arm Comet. This summons a tower that you must stand in or it'll kill you. This tower also does a small knockback when it hits you, so bear that in mind for all the mechanics we're going to talk about for the rest of the fight. While waiting for the tower to expire, Dabog will begin casting Left Arm Metal Cutter. This puts a marker on the player's head and begins charging 3 lethal conal AoEs on the arena. When the cast bar finishes, you'll be knocked back slightly from that marker over your head, and the 3 conal AoEs will execute as well. Within a couple of seconds, Dabog will actually do a second slash, which shoots conals at the previously safe areas in the arena. For this one, you'll want to take the tower knockback into one of the safe spots of the arena, then take the marker knockback without touching the wall. After the first Metal Cutter, quickly move into the center of where the first set of conal AoEs were aimed in order to dodge the second set. With the basics established, the boss will start buffing his arms with Limit Cut. This will enhance the next skill he uses from that arm in a variety of ways. First, we'll cover Left Arm Limit Cut. When used with Left Arm Metal Cutter, it will cause the blue marker knockback over your head to send you much further than usual. Alongside this first appearance will be Right Arm Ray. For this combo, this will summon 3 giant ground AoEs that you just need to avoid. You'll want to take the long left arm knockback into one of the narrow safe spots before then dodging the second Metal Cutter. Just make sure not to get clipped by the ground AoEs, they're just kind of there in this pattern. Then you have Right Arm Limit Cut. When used with Right Arm Comet, this will cause the tower you stand in to knock you back much further. You'll need to aim the knockback so it sends you into one of the farther safe zones before dealing with a usual Metal Cutter. Other than that, the second set is much the same as you can see. Now Dabog will do a brand new mechanic, Cell Division. This summons 2 sets of 2 clones along the edge of the arena. After a short delay, the first set will place a dive bomb marker over your head. Now this will cause them to aim wherever you are standing when you initially get the marker, and each fire a laser beam at that spot. So you need to pre-position for this marker before you see it, ideally between the 2 clones near the wall, so they aim far away from the center, which is where you'll probably be. After aiming the first dive bomb marker, Left Arm Metal Cutter will happen, doing the short knockback and then the first set of conals. Now between the first and second Metal Cutter AoEs will be the second laser dive bomb marker. This makes it ideal to get the knockback into a place between the 2 remaining clones, close to the wall, before very rapidly dodging the second Metal Cutter. It can be tempting to sprint or swift here, and that's alright, but bear in mind that's going to largely depend on how you handle the very next mechanic. Once Cell Division is completely resolved, you'll have to deal with Left Arm Wave into Right Arm Ray. Left Arm Wave puts a marker over your head. When the cast bar finishes and the marker disappears, the spot you were standing in will be invisibly marked, before Dabog fires a very rapid Right Arm Ray at that spot. It is super fast and just leaves you a couple of options to deal with it. The first is to just use Lost Excellence or a tank invuln. You could technically use Holmgang or Living Dead as long as you have potion kits to heal you up after, but the attack does give a damage down, so it's going to slow your run down considerably. So if you're going to go a tank, Paladin or Gunbreaker are optimal for just invulning this attack. Excellence on DPS though, amazing for this. You can also just drop it right along the edge of the arena and then use a gap closer plus sprint or swift. This just barely gives you the space you need in order to avoid it, and if you're missing either of those things, you're probably sunk. The next safest option are to honestly just use Lost Swift and bolt it as soon as you see it disappear, but you might as well just combine it with a gap closer, or even Lost Impetus, because it gives you that extra dash on top of the movement speed, so it just gives you more options and more safety when getting out of Right Arm Ray. Either way, just try not to get hit or be invincible for it. That's all you have to do. As soon as you dodge Right Arm Ray is Right Arm Blaster, which is a line AoE in the direction that the boss is aiming. Just move out of the boss's front side so you don't get hit. Now from this point on, things can get a little confusing if you're not paying careful attention, so listen close. Left Arm Limit Cut is next, but Dabog will also summon a tower at the exact same time as Metal Cutter starts casting. This new combo attack is just called Arm Unit, so you really need to watch which arm is being limit cut before the boss uses Arm Unit. You'll want to take the long knockback from the marker into the tower with Left Arm Limit Cut, then aim the tower knockback into the safe spot from the second Metal Cutter. After another Left Arm Slash is a mechanic that'll likely give you a scare, but really isn't that bad. Right Arm Limit Cut plus Right Arm Ray. This summons 4 orbs that do rotating cross AoEs around the arena. At the same time, you'll be hit with several back-to-back AoEs that leave puddles on the ground. You need to dodge all the cross AoEs while safely dropping puddles so you don't run out of space. Really, it seems scarier than it is, but don't be discouraged if you mess up the movements without a little bit of practice. First, find which open spot is between 2 orbs that are rotating away from you. As you can see here, the orbs to my left and my right are both rotating in a direction opposite of where I'm standing. Now get to the very corner of that first safe spot on the far end. When the first puddle drops, move just barely out of range of it, drop the next puddle, and then repeat over and over again until you reach the wall. When you reach the wall, just turn slightly outward and stay close to the wall to drop the remaining puddles. You can actually also do kind of like a cross pattern. You see me doing a kind of one here, but not that much. You can do it a little bit more, but it gives you a little bit of extra space as well. Really, the most important thing is not to over dodge or to turn too far inward near the end. Turning too far inward is likely to get you clipped like dumb old me, so sticking towards the wall gives you a little bit more space. After this is right arm limit cut into arm unit. Now arm unit is exactly the same as before, but now because the right arm is enhanced, the comet is going to have a longer knockback and the marker over your head a shorter knockback. So you want to stand about halfway between the boss and the tower, get knocked into the tower, and then just take the tower knockback right back the way you came. This should launch you into the remaining safe spot. Now just dodge one more left arm slash and then the fight is going to start repeating. It'll actually repeat from cell division specifically. This does mean that another left arm wave into right arm ray is going to happen. So if you don't have a backup plan from the first one, like another excellence or swift or impetus or swift and a gap closer, anything, then you're going to be in trouble. Also, there's going to be more rotating orbs, there's going to be the different limit cuts for arm unit, everything. It also appears that which arm is actually using limit cut either reverses or is random for this last part, as a lot of footage I see shows people getting right arm limit cut first in this repeat phase instead of left. Please read the skill and check which arm is being limit cut. Say it out loud if you have to, I know that works for me. At just over 8 minutes, Dabog will charge a right arm blaster that you cannot avoid. He'll just aim at you and shoot you for max damage and you'll die. As of this video being made, however, if you actually re-raise after that enrage, Dabog actually reverts to just auto-attacking until you kill him. An honorless win, but a win nonetheless. It's likely this gets fixed in the future, because the other duels, this doesn't happen. They go untargetable, they spam AoEs, there's no way to kill them. But here, you basically get a free win if you happen to re-raise on the enrage. And with that, that's going to be a wrap for my guide to the Broken Blade, the duel against Dabog in Zadnor. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share, and stay tuned, we'll be doing guides on the other two duels as well. Thank you, and until next time, take care.